Hello, everybody out there in Beatles podcast community land. This is the other leg doing his installment of the Things We Bought Today series, which I can give credit once again to my co host there, Tom Hunyadi, with coming up new and innovative ways to kind of keep our channel relevant. And thanks to him, this is my first one of these. So just going to give it a whirl. Decided I've collected this stuff for 30 years. So might as well start showing some of it off like he does, as only he can do. Yeah, and Tom's been collecting vinyl again for, I think he told me, about 7 or 8 years. I've been collecting it since I was a kid. Inherited a lot of it, and fortunately in my area, in the New York area, I was able to really pick up a lot of vinyl as imports as a young fan, and I've been collecting it ever since. So this isn't really things we bought today. This is things we've bought over the decades. But I do have some things that I am going to show that I did get somewhat recently within the past year. So I hope that qualifies. And some of that stuff was recently through connections through Two Legs. So just a thank you to everybody who supports Two Legs. And I know I'm not as visible as Tom, but I hope to do this quite a few times. But I really can't keep up with Tom because he is just like... every other day I'll get a text. Oh, I've got this coming. I've got that coming. I've got this coming. And he's actually made up a lot of ground. So I'm happy for him with those international sleeves and so forth. But he's done quite well. So good on you, partner. So let's get right to it. So about a little less than a year ago, last summer of 2021, Chip Mattinger of Eight Arms to Hold You fame, right here. The classic book, the Bible for us Beatle people. If you don't have it, you can get a PDF version of it. I've had this for about 20 years. He reached out to Tom and me individually and was looking to kind of get rid of some of his, whittling down his Beatle collection. And he sent me, and he knew that we were Paul fans, so he sent me a list of items that I might be interested in. I bought a few things from him at that time. Really good stuff I'd never seen before. A couple of bootlegs, and if you've seen our latest issue of episode that we did with Ken Michaels, we like to call them Dutch imports because that's what they really are. But anyway, one of the coolest things he had in his collection, which I had never seen before at all, was this 2 LP set here called Odd Socks. Odd Socks. Definitely, not legit. 4 LPs here, okay? And really just assembles all of the material that was going to make up all the hot hits and cold cuts, all the cold cuts material was all going to be on here, and then some. Not much to this one at all, other than the little insert here and two like LPs here in the plastic with these custom labels on them as well. Plays nice, good sound quality. And again, pre-internet, it was probably a really nice way to get all of these tracks assembled here. You've got the quasi, MPL sticker on there, making it look, real. I mean, a limited edition, promotional copy, not for sale. So it does look legit, but it's definitely not. But I must say, even though I've had all these songs for dozens of years, on this compilation, it's pretty cool. Girls' School, Daytime, Nighttime Suffering, Coming Up Live at Glasgow, The Mess, Oh Woman, Oh Why, Good Night Tonight, the regular version. There's a longer version on this as well, the full length. Give Ireland Back to the Irish, Mary Had a Little Lamb, Little Woman Love, Sea Moon, I Lie Around, Walking in the Park with Eloise, Bridge on the River, Sweet, Lunchbox, Odd Socks, Country Dreamer, Sally G, Seaside Woman, credited to Susie and the Red Stripes, B-Side to Seaside, Wonderful Christmas Time, Rudolph, Give On Back to the Irish, the instrumental version, Check My Machine, Secret Friend, Zoo Gang, and Good Night Tonight, the long version. Also take note, too, of the artwork on here, too. You've got artwork for all the individual tracks, for these Odd Socks. So Odd Socks, Beast, cold cuts. So it's a little bit more encompassing than the cold cuts material because it's including, a lot of the early Wings hits and the B-sides. So it's the cold cuts material and then a little bit of a hodgepodge of other stuff. But I enjoyed this one quite a lot, playing this one last year when I got it. Yeah. So thanks for that. Chip, another one of these pressings was a highly sought after one, which I looked for this one for years. Beatlefests, record stores all over. I probably saw it once or twice when I was a kid, but couldn't afford it because these things cost a lot back in the day. $30, $40, and for a teenage kid, that was a lot of money. But this one, the Dutch import of the James Paul McCartney soundtrack. Looked for this one for a long, long time. And again, it's been sourced on CD. I think Yellow Dog did it and a few other people did it. But in this is one of the classic bootlegs, really. If you ever look at the Beatles bootleg guides and stuff, you'll see under Paul, you'll see this one quite a bit. It's got a nice label on it, made well, and the veneer of like a TV guide because it was the special. And on the back here, original television soundtrack, James Paul McCartney. And as those of you that might not even be aware of, the TV Guide used to be a magazine, although I would admit probably a lot of people watching this do know what TV Guides are, but there might be a viewer out there that does not. They were a book that actually listed what was on, and you'd watch them. And you'd see right here, James Paul McCartney, and just a little bit of write-up of the show. One LP, Big Barn Bed, Blackbird, Bluebird, Michelle, Heart of the Country, Mary Had a Little Lamb, Little Woman Love, Sea Moon, My Love, Uncle Albert. Side 2, Gotta Sing, Gotta Dance, that lovely dance hall number, which I actually like. I don't think Tom does, but I don't get tired of that one. Live and Let Die, which we just did an episode about. Check it out on Two Legs. The Mess, Maybe I'm Amazed, Long Tall Sally, and Yesterday. And the label is just a generic club sandwich label on here as well. Which you've seen a lot of in your McCartney reading, I'm sure. But I've always just enjoyed the artwork on this one. Almost looks like it could have been a real release, a high quality one. And again, this week, Gotta Sing, Gotta Dance. See, they knew that was the showstopper of a tune, for sure. Other stuff that I got in the Chip Haul last year. Chip included, and I think, judging by my shirt here, and you've probably seen on our social media, I have about a dozen copies of Ram. But what I didn't have was this Japanese version, which unfortunately the OBI strip is a little ripped here. And I only have a few in my collection of Japanese pressings. But this one is a Japanese pressing here, and I've always fascinated with the packaging that they do on the detail, the attention to detail on their albums. Lyric sheets a lot of times. Now this one here has a lyric sheet as included, and so does the other one I'm going to show in a little bit. Japanese lyric sheet, as they always included, in English and Japanese. Oddly housed in an A&M sleeve, which I'm sure is not original, but that's okay. But it's not the Apple. It's the retro Capitol 50s throwback, which Paul rolled out around Venus and Mars time frame. So, not looking... Yeah, see, and of course, that makes sense, because even on the label here, and I'll hold it up, but it's probably too small to see, it says 1975. 1975 MPL Communications. So clearly the Apple would have been phased out, and they did, Japan pressed it on the throwback Capitol label. Plays fine, played it once. And again, just a nice addition to the many LPs of Ram in my collection. Even on the back there a little bit next to the infamous photo that we all know, there's your Japanese perimeter print. As well, another copy of Ram, and this one's one of my most favorite ones that I got, 10 years ago now, 11 years ago. And I wish I could remember the name of the record store that I bought it at in Liverpool, but I can't. But it did close. It was on Bold Street. Oh, and maybe one of our viewers or one of my friends, my scousers, can tell me the name of that place. But it's been closed. It closed shortly after I left Liverpool. But this is a UK copy of Ram that I bought for about £5. See, even the label's still on there. £5. And one difference between American and British copies of records, Beatles, whatever, McCartney, I love the covers. The covers in England, I don't know, they're just glossier a lot of times. In America, we got the matte finish. Even if you just see it now, even on this, it's just a little glossy. I don't know. I mean, the material that they used in England when they made these, it's not as thick as like cardboardy type, which a lot of 70s American albums are. It's thinner, but it's just a little glossier. And of course, the much, much better, nicer Apple, in my opinion, label on the UK with the, with the green script going around the label. But this is an original UK edition of RAM, and I was always fascinated with matrices and index numbers and catalog numbers, and I used to have them memorized as a kid. SMAS 2067. I used to have them all committed to memory. I think even SMAS 2047 is Meet the Beatles. I think somebody can fact check me, but in England they're a little different. See, and the labels are different. PAS 1003. And the label's in the middle. In America, it's up here. And this is major, major geeky stuff here, I know. But these are just little oddities as Beatle fans we would go through and look at them and say, oh, that's different. That's different. So, yeah, that's an original UK pressing of RAM. Back to the Japanese haul of stuff. This is nothing else from Chip. This I got very recently on my trip to see Tom in August, and some of you saw the photo that we posted. This is a Japanese pressing of my second favorite McCartney album, London Town. Sorry, Denny, let me slide you over there. There we go. I cut Linda out now, though. But anyway, London Town with an intact OBI strip, which I bought at one of Tom's go-to stores, the In Groove, for not that much money. It was not that expensive. Again, very, very nice cover. Difference is writing's up here as well. Label, you've got stars up there on the corner, a little different. And then this one is housed immaculately, I must say, compared to the RAM one. This one's in much, it's got the nice sleeve here, the protective sleeve here, the clear, and the LP with the words in red on this edition of the LP, not black, like the American and British counterparts, which is pretty cool. So you've got the titles in red. You've also got another, not a lyric sheet, because the lyrics were included with the album, but you've got London Town here included, and then just basically kind of just an overview of the discography of Wings up to that point in time. If I can get it open here. Up to that point in time, up until 76, and on the back as well, that was available through them. Yeah, MPL. EMI, Toshiba, even back then, and of course the standard sheet with it. But really nice, clean pressing. I played it when I got back from Arizona. Loved it. And, it doesn't hurt that I love the album through and through. So that's a really nice pressing of London Town. Okay, switching to live gears, albums that I've had in my collection for a long time. Really fortunate to get these because in all my record hunting days, I don't see, even now, I rarely see these anywhere. Unless you go to eBay. I'm very fortunate I got them. First up, live album, a sealed edition of Tripping the Live Fantastic. 3 records, never opened it. I think I bought it at a Beatle Fest 20 years ago for maybe $40. But even the sticker on there says $23.98. It wasn't. I think it was about $40, maybe $50. But I have not opened it. It's very hard to come by. I'm sure it's probably get it on Discogs for $100 or less. But it's always one of my favorite. Wings Over America is the gold standard, but Tripping the Live Fantastic. 6, and I have the highlights too. But on an album format, because I was a young kid when this came out, so to see this on vinyl, to even look for it back then, because remember, early '90s vinyl was scarce. Flowers in the Dirt, of course, was everywhere, but I didn't see this as a kid in the stores. Going out. If I did, I would have asked my parents to get it. But, of course, I had the CD and the cassette, which I wore out. But the vinyl, this is a special one here in my collection. Nice thick label there, clean and sealed, Capitol Records American pressing, which I'm not going to open. And in the other live department area, another one I've probably had for at least 20 years or more, is an original. Now this has been done again since when the live albums got reissued in 2017 or 2018. But this is an original 1993 4 pressing of Paul is Live, the double LP. See, even with the Made in England sticker on there, probably this was about $30 back in the day, which again, a lot of That was no small amount of money, but not my favorite live album. Obviously, I love the cover. I love the off the ground tracks. Tom, my co-host, saw McCartney on this tour, so I know this live album is pretty special to him as well. But again, 2 records on here, and again, England. A little bit thinner, but just a nicer, shinier cover. Custom inserts, and the vinyl. If you have Off the Ground on vinyl, or look at any early '90s album on vinyl. I just scored a copy of Elton John's The One, which just came out in '92, Off the Ground. All the vinyl around that time is like super, super thin, like razor thin, like a piece of paper, thin. It's just, I don't know what they were doing there in the '90s, where they kind of skim. Off the Ground has the same dexterity as this record, as this Paul's Live. So I guess it was the last days of vinyl. I've played this once or twice. Probably my favorite song on the whole thing is the Soundcheck song, A Fine Day, which closes the album. I love that jam. And does the poster come in here with this? Well, no, they don't, because they include the poster on the gatefold insert here, which if you bought the CD, this was just included in that anyway. And of course, Paul recreating Abbey Road there, but the same shot. And they didn't go down there in '93 again. Obviously, you can tell the 28 if is still there. But don't play it too much. More of a collector's piece. Paul's Live, and again, it's been reissued. I did not get the reissue because my original one from '94 is just good enough for me right now. I'm a completist, but not much of a completist. And that's the live stuff. And then just to round out my installment of this, I've got a couple of 45s to show off, 1 UK and 1 Japanese, and I'm pretty sure Tom got this recently. I got it not too long ago. That's a Japanese pressing of Give Ireland Back to the Irish. Custom label with the Japanese writing on the record itself there, listed as well. And pretty cool cover, taking the wildlife photo and throwing an apple around it. And of course with the Apple custom label on there as well. Just kind of is thrown on the front, really. But it's included as well. And then just a generic UK pressing of one of my favorite McCartney songs. Not Ethan Alexanian's, I might add. So, sorry, Ethan, had to do it. That's Waterfalls. Parlophone pressing, a little beat up. Got it at a Beatle Fest, probably $10. And you can always tell it's a British copy because they never take the middle part out, which is nice. You can just throw it on. Us Yanks, we had to just outthink ourselves and get the little yellow adapter. Our British friends, much more smarter, to leave the inserts in on their 45s. But this was just the regular edit of Waterfalls at 441 on Parlophone with Check My Machine at 550 on the B-side and the back cover as well, with the lyrics as well. But curiously, no lyrics for Check My Machine. I guess he wasn't feeling he needed to include lyrics for Sticks and Stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. So that's it. Just a little quick over into things that I bought somewhat recently, and not so recently, but some of the most enjoyable pieces of my collection. So thanks for watching, everybody. See you on the next episode of Two Legs. Have a good night.